All right, we're here today up here in Prescott, Arizona, in the Thumb Butte area. For those who don't know what Thumb Butte is, it's basically the centerpiece that looks over Prescott, Arizona, which is just basically one tall rock that goes up, straight up, and looks like kind of like a thumb. So they call it Thumb Butte. And we're just beyond that on this dirt road. I'm not sure the name of this road because there wasn't really a name on this road, but it's a dirt road. Once you go up past the Thumb Butte Road, it turns into a dirt road, and we're about 2.5 miles up on that. And we're here to do Williamson Peak. It's a short hike today, and it says that on the map that I have, it's 1.7 miles. But I'm not sure if that's round trip or not, because I believe I saw other people listing that it was going to be like 3.9. So I'm assuming that the 1.7 is one way. And it seems as though it starts off a little bit of a road hike, and then possibly a trail hike, and then there's some cross country to get to the top of the peak. All of that is just speculation, and we won't know until we're actually up there. So let's get started and see how this thing goes. All right, and just like that, we're half a mile up on the trail, and right behind Marianne, you can see the summit of Williamson Peak. So, yeah, this is probably one of the easiest 7,000-foot mountains I've ever done. And being that it turns out that it's probably going to be exactly 1.7 miles round trip as initially thought. I was hoping it was going to be doubled up, but seeing that we're only about 4/10 of a mile from the summit, it turns out it's going to be like 1.7, just under 2 miles round trip. But being that we're only a half a mile away from the Jeep, it feels so like serene out here. It's really quiet and peaceful, and we are the only ones out here, so it is kind of special in its own little way. Anyway, we're going to carry on and get back up to the summit, and we'll check in with you when we get up there. right, we made it here to the summit of Williams Peak in Prescott, Arizona. And as you can see behind me, we got the summit block. And beyond that, I'm not sure if you can see it, but that's Thumbs Butte, which is the centerpiece of Prescott, Arizona, which I was talking about earlier. And then way beyond that, you can see, maybe you can see it, is Humphreys Peak with the snow-capped mountains out there in Flagstaff. As you can hear too, the wind is starting to pick up, so it's starting to get a little bit chilly up here. Again, we're at like just over 7,000 feet. I think it's 7,058. There is so many trails that are out here that essentially, I mean, you could make this into a really big hike. You could start from down below at like Thumbs Butte, down out there, and it's probably going to end up being about a 10-mile hike, you know, about that. So you can make these hikes into pretty big, but we just went to the basic trailhead from where the trek map started that I got online, and so you know we just started there and just made up our way here. It has again the summit block, and it has a survey marker here, and other than that, it's just a bunch of burnt trees and stuff. It was definitely in a burnt area at some point. There was a fire up here, and just beautiful 360 views of all the mountains around here. Again, you got Thumbs Butte, you got Granite Mountain just behind me, and a bunch of the peaks out there in the Prescott National Forest. Now, a lot of these peaks don't essentially have names for them, or they might actually have names for them, but they're not marked. So it's hard to know which ones are which. I wish that a lot of them were more marked and knowing which ones you're bagging. I think a lot of them probably are numbered peaks, and some of them are named peaks. But as far as this one goes, this one's done now here on Williamson Peak. So we're going to grab something to eat, probably an apple, and then work our way back down to the car and see what we're going to do. Okay, made it back down to the Jeep. And so the numbers was 1.8 miles and 456 feet elevation gain. It was a doozy today. I can promise you that. No, on a serious note, not a bad hike. Very short, obviously, but fun. Another new peak in the books. Sometimes that's the way it goes. Doesn't always have to be 20 miles or 10 miles to get to a peak, and 4 or 5 thousand elevation gain. Any new peak's a new peak, and it's just good to get out and book a peak. You know what I'm saying? So interesting thing. Remember I talked about the survey marker that was up there. Um, Everywhere that I've seen, and even on the sign-in um, register, it said Williamson Peak, but on the survey marker it said Porter Peak. So maybe before it was considered as Porter Peak, and now it's Williamson, or maybe vice versa. Who knows? But probably because the survey marker was in there for such a long time, it was probably originally Porter Peak, and for whatever reason, it's been switched to Williamson Peak. But other than that, it was a fun little hike, a little basically trail and a little off trail, and just beautiful views from the top. Got a little chilly up there, I would say. Even after I got done filming, it got really cold, and we just kind of rushed off the peak. But now back here at the Jeep, it still feels a little bit windy, but nothing like it was up there. But anyhow, we're going to head off and head out of here for the day, and we hope to see you on the next one.